I come with joy to meet my Lord, forgiven, loved, and free. Words of our stewardship hymn we've been singing these past 6 weeks. Many of you know how much I look forward to the small group gatherings our church's stewardship committee organizes twice a year, in which about a dozen or so households host 6 to 8 guests or more in their home for some tasty treats and even richer conversation. These gatherings are wonderful opportunities to get to know one another better. And if you've never attended one, I hope you'll sign up the next time, probably in the spring. As your rector, I try to go to as many of these fellowship events as I can, usually missing only about one per cycle. I make it a priority because I get the chance to spend dedicated, quality time with people outside of all the busyness of Sunday mornings and weekday committee meetings. So 2 weeks ago, after joining so many lovely gatherings throughout the month of October, I was looking forward to one more, a Sunday dinner at a parishioner's house that I'd never been to. What a great way to celebrate the success of bringing people together and deepening our congregation's connections than a relaxing dinner on a Sunday evening after a great morning of church services and a festive parish Halloween party. Well, maybe I ate too much candy at the Halloween party, or maybe I didn't sleep enough the night before, but later that afternoon, I put my head on the pillow for just a few minutes just to rest. Didn't set my alarm because I didn't plan on sleeping. And then I woke up 3 hours later and realized that I was very late for the dinner. Rather like the unprepared bridal attendants in today's gospel reading who didn't bring enough oil for their lamps. "Oh no!" I exclaimed, and maybe an expletive or two came out of my mouth after 2 minutes. And I started frantically running around the house, toothbrush in one hand, change of shirt in the other. I texted the host to make sure it would be okay to still come. I didn't wait for an answer. I jumped in the car and got there as fast as I could. And when I arrived, instead of being judged, I was greeted warmly by everyone. No one really seemed to mind that I was very much unfashionably late, having missed both appetizers and entree. Instead, they were just glad to see me. And the words of this season's hymn came to mind: I come with joy, forgiven, loved, and free. For me, this moment was a bit of a metaphor for my experience of the God of love in community, particularly the community here at Trinity Church. Instead of, like today's gospel reading, where the bridegroom shuts the door to the latecomers and says, "I do not know you," instead of that, I was met with love. And so together, we were able to be in community with one another. And so, this tells me that when our shortcomings are forgiven, and when we're embraced with love and community, we are set free to be ourselves and to live with joy. I come with joy to find the new community of love, where Christ breaks bread and bids us share. Christ's presence always near is in such friendship better known. And as God's people in the world, we will live and speak Christ's prayers. Over the past 6 weeks, this hymn has been a focal point of our worship and parish life. Together, we've been asking and answering questions about how we experience love, joy, daily bread, friendship, praise, and inspiration to share our time, talent, and treasure. If you've not yet had the chance to reflect on these questions, I hope you will. And if you feel like you're not coming up with the answers that you'd like, if your experience at Trinity is one that is not joyful, nourishing, inspiring, friendly, empowering, and above all loving, then I hope you'll reach out to me so that we can talk and pray together. Because I want to, and I know all of us want to make sure that this truly is a community of love for everyone. Today is my 4th Stewardship Sunday at Trinity, and what a difference 3 years makes. 3 years ago, on my first Stewardship Sunday, we were still in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. We'd only recently reopened for public worship 4 months earlier after a 4-month closure, and we still had advanced sign-ups and a small capacity limit for services, with the requirement that we sit at least 6 feet apart from one another on all sides. There was no common cup at communion. Music was very limited, with only recordings of the choir or one in-person soloist. We were, in our wider culture, emerging from a bitter presidential election and heading into a constitutional crisis. And to top it all off, rising COVID cases around us meant that on Stewardship Sunday, when we come together to celebrate building this community together, we had to cancel coffee hour, which was only actually coffee-less hour at that point, since we could not eat or drink together. There was, however, still joy in our worship, in our common life as a church, but let's admit it, it was a rather constrained joy, a still small voice, if you will. A year later, in 2021, we were still all wearing masks in church, but we were able to invite more people into the space, and we even had a small but dedicated choir leading us in song. The Saturday community meal was still being served to go only, but we were having coffee hour again, even if outside, in the cold, and sometimes even in the drizzle and the snow, because people were just that hungry for connection. The still small voice of joy had become a conversation. In 2022, things were looking and sounding quite a bit different as the mask requirement ended after Easter. The choir was thriving under the relatively new leadership of our brilliant Director of Music and Arts, Dr. Deborah King. We'd recently reopened Saturday Soup for sit-down dining, making it once again truly a community meal. And the Stewardship Committee had organized an amazing series of small group gatherings. We'd been without regular fellowship for 2 years, and we were excited to spend time with one another. The still small voice of 2020 that became a conversation in 2021 was now a dinner party, a fun one, and you could feel the joy here in this place. And now here we are in 2023, and the dinner party is now a dance party, a loud, rocking, high-energy dance party. This church is firing on all cylinders, and it's joyful, overflowing with joy, joyful. We've seen 2 years of membership growth, worship attendance is up, and the choir is growing by leaps and bounds, numbers, and also musicianship, energy, and enthusiasm. We're not even quite sure where we're going to fit them all, if we're honest. And that's a good problem to have. Children's Sunday School is thriving, and for adults we offer 3 Bible studies each week, in addition to regular Sunday education hour classes. Our coffee hours are abundant with food and conversation. On the social justice front, earlier this year we launched the Trinity Center for Community, introducing our expanded programs to help our neighbors in need to a wider audience. In addition to our Saturday Soup community meal, food pantry, racial justice program, we now offer housing support, mental health and recovery coaching, financial skills empowerment, and leadership and job training. We also created more opportunity for community connection through enhanced hospitality, bringing food pantry guests inside at a seat at the table over hot beverages and snacks instead of waiting outside in the weather. And starting next month, Trinity will once again be a code blue warming shelter during the winter months. And in fact, we will be the only drop-in center in all of Monmouth County. We're also increasingly becoming a hub for the intersection of spirituality, social justice, and the arts, with our lively collaboration with the Light Brigade Collective concert organizers, as well as our inaugural Artist in Residence program with Stephen Allegian, who later this week is presenting his first show in the space, which promises to be a stunning installation making use of the church's magnificent architecture. So Trinity truly is an exciting place to be in 2023. And as we look to 2024, I'm convinced that the best is yet to come. I love Trinity Church, and I'm grateful every day for the opportunity to serve as your priest. And that's why I'm happy to offer my own pledge of financial support each year. And that's why I'm increasing my pledge for 2024 by 10%. And I ask all of you who can to do the same. I know not everyone can, and some people might even have to reduce their pledge, but I ask all of you who can to increase your pledge by 10% because our community needs this church. It needs its vital ministries. Here at Trinity, we strive to share God's unconditional love with everyone. We create a place where all are welcome, where no one is judged, where everyone gets a new chance, and where all can be loved and free. But we cannot do it without your support. And so whether you give $25 or $25,000 in 2024, your gift of financial support is valued and needed. And don't forget, stewardship is not just treasure, it's not just money, but also time and talent. We need those gifts too. So take a few moments to think about and pray about your resources of time, talent, and treasure. And later on in the service, we'll have the opportunity to offer our pledges on the altar. And you'll notice that the pledge card has a place for you to name your blessings and also to offer an opportunity you might give your time and talent to the next year. And I hope that you'll join me in this pledge endeavor because this community of love needs you to be complete. Each week at communion, the celebrant says, "This is God's table. All are welcome." All are welcome, and all are needed. So together, let's come with joy as each week we create and recreate this community of love. Amen.